palm reading of a female. I don't know her age, but we are reading her hand, so I will be pointing important things that I see on her palm. First, we are going to take a look at the left hand. It is said that for women we give more importance to the left hand, but I normally give more importance to the right hand. And it is also true that generally, in most people's cases, our left and the right hand are quite similar. So it doesn't matter if we read the left hand or the right hand, provided both hands do show similarities. Now, in her case, what we find is that this is the line of head and this is the line of life. Both appear to be joined for a very, very long duration of time. People who have such an indication, it generally basically means that these people are very cautious, shy, hardworking, and contemplating. So this is the basic nature. They may miss out on opportunities, and missing out on opportunities should not be looked at as a wrong indication, because people who miss out on opportunities are left with fewer opportunities, and if you are left with fewer opportunities, you can work upon them and make it much better and still be successful. So it doesn't have too much of a bearing from the success point of view. I've seen many people's cases who have got both these lines joined together similarly, something like this, and yet they are successful. The thing is that you would also notice that there's a line something like this originating on the mount of Jupiter. This is the mount of Jupiter. This is the planet for growth, expansion, honor, and respect. Jupiter is a very, very big planet. It is the 11 times the size of the Earth. So it has to do with growth and expansion. And if a person does have such an indication, like a line is originating on the mount of Jupiter and joining the headline or the lifeline, this is the lifeline and this is the headline, the meaning would remain somewhat similar. It means our life is getting guided by Jupiter if it joins the lifeline. If it joins the headline, it means our mind is getting guided by Jupiter. So in both cases, the meaning is quite similar. So it doesn't matter what, but such people would want to rise up to a higher position in their life. And although this line is joining at an early portion of life, somewhere around the age of 15, 16, 17, but yet it has a long lasting effect, not only at the age of 15, but it is for lifelong. So the effect is lifelong. So this is a good indication. You would also notice that there are few crossing kind of lines. If they were not there, it would have been better. Even if they are there, and if a person has got a deep and clear line, that is considered to be reasonably good indication. Now you would also notice that this is the earlier portion of one's life, and the head and the lifeline are a little bit unclear. See, a simple line is much better than a complicated kind of a line. Simple line looks somewhat like this. This is the headline. If a person has had a somewhat similar kind of a line, that would have been a very good indication from the point of thought process. And this is the line of life. So if it is simple, so better health can be expected. But in the earlier portion, we don't find these lines. They are intermingled together, and there's an island-like formation. So unclear kind of an indication is also there. And few lines are kind of originating on the mount of Mars negative. This is the area for Mars negative, the area for anger, aggression, and fire. And they are kind of joining either the headline or the lifeline. Both ways, it is considered to be a negative sign. What it basically means is something to do with fire entering your life if it joins the lifeline, and fire entering your mind, that is the headline. So in both cases, it is a little bit negative, because when we are angry, the chances of taking wrong decisions increase because of the anger. So reduction of anger is necessary to make better decisions, and for better health also, the person should try to remove anger from their life. Now, apart from this, you would also notice that they are kind of, if this is the line of head, you would notice that there are few lines that are kind of leaning upward and pointing towards the mount of Mercury. Now, generally what happens is, in most people's cases, what you would find that the headline is somewhat drooping towards the mount of Moon. This is a general thing. Imagine top is the sky and the base is the earth and the gravity. So generally things, the gravity is pulling downwards, so generally people have got somewhat similar kind of a line. But having a line that moves upward, pointing towards a finger, is considered to be something like moving towards the sky. It means upliftment of the mind. And the timing when these things are happening is before the age of 35. So if this is the line of money, this is the line of head. So these upward kind of motion is seen before the age of 35. One is very close to before the age of 35, and the other is a little bit 2 or 3 4 years before the age of 35, maybe even more. So there's an upward line. These, so upward lines are known as lines for success, upliftment of the mind, jubilation, success. It's only when you are successful that you feel very good. So in that way, it is considered to be a good sign. So having the headline move towards the finger is a beautiful sign to have. Now you would also notice that the headline is kind of changing its course. So this is the line out here, and then another line develops around the age of 35. So somewhere around the age of 35, a major turnaround in one's thought process takes place. The way we think, it changes. Generally what people might think is that the headline is the line of intelligence. No, headline is not the line of intelligence. Headline is purely and purely the line of thought process. And the mental strength and weakness, or mental stability or instability, can be seen on the headline. So that upward movement is a beautiful sign. And another line, that the new line that starts, kind of points towards the Mount of Jupiter. Now Mount of Jupiter is, again, I've already told you, Jupiter is the area for administration, religion, politics, and honor. And any line kind of pointing towards the Mount of Jupiter means the quality of Jupiter enter the line of head. So that's why it is considered to be a beautiful sign to have. And then basically the line kind of runs straight, and it is quite stable, and for throughout the life it is somewhat like this, very simple lines are considered to be good. But normally what people have is this kind of a formation doesn't appear in most people cases, that upward motion and then the new line developing. So this is a rare kind of an indication that we see in this particular hand, and the age is around the age of 35. It could be plus minus few years of one's life. Now as far as the lifeline goes, this is the lifeline. So in the early portion, till the age of probably let's say 26, 27, 28, 29, the line is not so clear. But after that, the line becomes a little bit clear. But even these lines are kind of having kind of pointing towards the Mount of Moon. So pointing towards the Mount of Moon is not considered to be the best sign as far as the health goes. But these lines that you see running, that are running parallel, are this particular line that I'm referring to. This is the supporting lifeline. It is the line of protection. This is also known as the line of Mars. Normally a line of Mars may appear to be somewhat like this, but in this case it is kind of running parallel and even touching the main line. So even this would be considered to be a good sign. But towards the end, you would notice it is kind of pointing towards the Mount of Moon. Any line pointing towards the Mount of Moon, a branch like thing pointing towards the Mount of Moon, is considered to be negative from the point of view of health point of view. So there could be health loss or wealth loss, or sometimes it could also mean restlessness. So we would also take a look at the right hand to arrive at the conclusion. So both hands to need to be referred. Now as far as the heart line goes, see, this is the heart line, and on the heart line you would notice that there is a kind of a island like formation out here, island under the Mount of Sun. This is the Mount of Sun. Sun is the planet where we look for brilliance, we look for creativity, art, music, risk taking, and this is also the area for art and music and creativity, these kind of things, and name and fame, such kind of things. If on the heartline you would notice that there's island-like formation under the Mount of Sun, it could mean eyes or heart-related issues. So this thing needs to be taken care of. Like sometimes it may happen, sometimes it may not happen. You can't have a surety Sometimes this island could mean purely and purely not necessarily anything to do with the physical heart. It could just mean emotional turmoil. It could just mean a elongated period of emotional stress and anxiety that the person experiences. So in that way, it is considered to be a little bit a kind of a negative sign. Even the heart line, in other people's cases, many people's cases, it is very simple kind. Simple lines are considered to be better than complicated line. You would notice that there are few branches like thing that are there on the line of heart, and branches over the heart line kind of bring in distraction. The person lose their focus, and sometimes the person's heart doesn't know what they really want. So lack of clarity could also be seen on the heart line. So branches on the heart line means distractions, falling for temptations, and it could also mean losing our focus and not being able to totally commit ourselves completely to something. It can be to a relationship or to a cause or to a profession. So it could be any such thing. The good part about the heartline is the heartline is kind of ending on the mount of Saturn. Now, Saturn is the area for materialism. Saturn is the planet for money, possession, wealth, wisdom, and responsibility. So, all these particular qualities that I mentioned are present in this particular person. So, the person could be a very responsible kind of a person. The person values money, the person respects money, and the person who respects money and values money and prays for money would automatically get lots of money in their life because they value money. So people who value money are the ones who get lots of money in their life. So, and these people are generally good money managers as well. They can multiply money because their desire is in money. Now, as far as so in this way, most businessmen do have the hard line end under the mount of Saturn. So this is from considered to be a good sign from the point of view of money. But it is not only in businessmen that you would find that the heart line is ending on the mount of Saturn. It could also be seen in the hand of people who are working, who are into service. So it can be in any profession, not necessarily only and only a businessman can have it. Even people who are in service, they make lots of money, and you basically have to demand money, only then basically you get it. If you don't cry for money, if you don't respect money, you won't basically get it. Imagine there are two doctors. One is a very emotional kind of a doctor, very sensitive kind of a doctor, and one is a materialistic doctor. So a person who is a materialistic doctor would always value money, and they would always take money for the services they give. People who are very idealistic and very sensitive, if the heartline was ending out here, it would have meant that the person is idealistic and sensitive. Now this person is not an idealistic kind of a person, not a sensitive kind of a person. So those people basically would basically not respect money, and where the opportunity arises to make money, they may lose that particular opportunity. Now I just mentioned that the person is not an emotional person. Now this person would automatically say, no, I am an emotional person. This is because the heartline is kind of curving. There's a deep curvature towards the end and pointing towards the mount of Saturn. Now the thing is that the person may be expressing their emotions, but being emotional and expressing their emotions more is completely different. So a person this person can also cry, but it doesn't make them an emotional kind of a person. These people are always realistic kind of people. They may not be able to contain their emotions, and they could be temperamental kind of people. So in that way, I do accept that such kind of thing is there, but actually they are not emotional. They are more of temperamental kind of a people. Now, as far as the money line goes, money line is kind of ending on the headlines, and a new line basically develops somewhere out here. So this intersection of the head and the money line is age 35. At this particular age, the headline is also changing course. This is the old headline, and this is the new headline, and the money line is also changing course. So that's the reason why there's a major turnaround in one's life, major changes in one's life. Now when the line of money kind of ends and a new line basically develops somewhere around the age of 35, few changes the person may experience few changes, and those changes could be in the form of sometimes there's a job loss, work loss, or business loss. Sometimes it's not like that. It could be the main earning member of the family, their health or wealth goes down. So more responsibility falls onto this particular person's head. Now, the third option could be one's personal life can also get disturbed. And due to disturbances in the personal life, automatically what's going to happen? It's going to affect the finances as well. So this thing can happen. Now, you would also notice that the Jupiter finger appears to be longer compared to the sun finger. Now, sometimes the way we take the images, we don't take the images in the right way, but it does appear. I'm just giving the reason what happens if the first finger is longer. First finger is the finger of Jupiter. It's a big planet. So when it is very long, it basically signifies that the person is a kind of a bossy person. But such people are also kind of quite lucky as well, because when they are born, they bring lots of growth in the family. It could be financial growth or growth of position or power or other kind of growths as well. So wherever they grow, they kind of bring growth. If they go to a new school, it brings growth. If they marry, then growth also happens to the partner. So in that way, it is considered to be a good sign. And there's kind of a bossism in them, and they love to boss around, because the first finger, the finger of Jupiter, is the finger of bossism, administration, religion, politics, and honor. So these qualities are there in abundance. Now we move on to the right hand. Just taking a look at the best possible image that we have. Now in this is the right hand. You would notice that on the headline, this is the line of head. There appears to be an island-like formation, island on the headline under the finger of Saturn, the planet for depression and sadness and delays. And if this island is seen under the mount of Saturn, it could mean depressive tendencies, or it could also mean some health issues or mental issues, or it could also mean stomach related issues. This is the center of the palm, and if you have too many lines, or if some wrong indication is seen on the headline or on other lines, probably those indications can show up in one's life. Now, as far as apart from this, you would also notice that this is the earlier portion. Both the life and the these are not the best. Life and the headline are not very good. And it's not there's lack of clarity on the headline. Lack of clarity on the headline means some trouble mentally from the initial years. The early portion of one's life might have been experienced, or health related issues can be seen. The island can also be seen on the lifeline also, so health related issues could have been seen in the earlier portion as well. These islands are somewhere around the age of 20s. 20 from 20 to the age of 30. This is the approximate age, I would say. Apart from this, you will also notice the headline is kind of originating on the mount of Mars negative. There are two kind of lines out here, so it's always better to have a single line. The lady has got a two kind of lines, so anger and aggression is there. And simpler lines brings more predictability. When the line is a little bit complicated, it kind of can bring in unpredictability as well. And anger and aggression is coming because the line is kind of originating on the area of Mars negative area. This is the Mars negative area, the area of fire, anger, aggression. And aggression can be good or bad, but when it enters the head, it kind of destroys the way we are able to take our decisions. So in that way, it is considered to be a negative kind of a sign. So anger needs to be controlled, health needs to be given due care. If the person gives due care to the health, so the possibilities are good. If the person doesn't give good care to the health, then things can go bad. Now, as far as the headline goes, the headline becomes much more deeper and clearer and simple. Simple lines are considered to be better because it brings more predictability to this particular person after the age of 35. Apart from that, you would also notice this is the line of money, and somewhere this particular point is age 32. This is age 32, 33, and there's a V-like formation. So V-like formation, see, we are not looking for English letter word, and because whenever we say V, you're going to think that V is for victory. So we are not looking for that, but V pointing towards the Saturn finger means better luck, betterment, from the finance point happening after the age of 32, 33. But before the age of 32, 33, it appears that there are few branches that are kind of leaning inward, a little bit inward. This particular line that I'm referring to, these two lines, they're kind of pointing towards the area of Mars negative. So these could be few financial losses that the person may have experienced. Not sure, but may have experienced. And towards, if you look at the lifeline and the lifeline kind of points towards the mount of moon. Now, if the lifeline points towards the mount of moon, moon is a changeable planet. It changes phases on a daily basis. So if the line moves towards the mount of moon, normally this is not the real place where the lifeline moves. Lifeline is generally something like this. It's kind of a curvature kind of a thing. And the area, this is the area for fire, and this is the area for energy and stamina and vitality, the Venus and the Mars area. But if the line kind of moves towards the mount of moon, then it could bring in restlessness, and it could mean like moon is also related to travel, so the desire for travel can increase, and it could also mean health loss or wealth loss can also be expected. And this particular age is roughly, I would say that the age is, let's say, 40. And but these lines, the effect may not be experienced exactly, because there also appears to be a supporting lifeline. The supporting lifeline protects this particular person. Apart from that, if you just notice that even though the lifeline is kind of pointing towards the mount of moon, yet the area of the mount of Venus appears to be well prominent, padded. And when the Venus is well padded, it brings in high energy levels and stamina and vitality, and the desires are much more there. So when the desire is there, and desire can be for anything, desire for good food, good clothes, it could be for a good life. All these things can be there, and the person loves to live life to the fullest. So having a good amount of Venus is always good from every point of view. Now, as far as the heart line goes, this is the heart line. There appears to be in these islands are there, and there's a break. It appears to be there is a break on the heart line also. Outer now the break and the meaning of island is somewhat similar. So break could mean an abrupt ending in a relationship or a partnership. It could just mean that. Sometimes it could also have to do with profession. We abruptly leave something and move on to something else. It could also mean we have some cause in our mind, that these are the cause that we live for, and that cause we may be attached to that particular cause for some time, and then we lose the interest and then we move on to something else. So that could be there due to this break on the heartline. Break on the heartline could also be seen from the point of view of health point of view as well. It could be eyes or heart related issues. But if the person doesn't have nails very small, some people have got very small kind of nails, that's when I would say it is considered to be a negative sign. Having small nails basically increases the chances of heart related issues. Now the line that I pointed out on the left hand, a strong kind of a line, reasonably strong. In this case, there are many lines. There are multiple lines, but they're comparatively not so strong compared to the left hand. And these lines are kind of also crossing something like this. So it's always better to have less lines, and more lines kind of overworks a particular amount. Overworking basically is considered to be a negative sign, because more lines basically destroys the quality of the planet. When it's something like we overwork a particular muscle, so this is the area for administration, religion, politics and honor. Sometimes we overdo it. It could also mean overeating or something related to that as well. Now, as far as the Mercury goes, this is the area for Mount of Mercury, and Mercury is the planet for intelligence, this is the planet for knowledge, and this is the planet for skill and calculations and communication. On the right hand, we find that there is not one but multiple perpendicular lines. These lines are not very strong kind of lines, but yet they are there. So palmistry book says that these multiple lines could mean related to the person could be a good doctor. But the stronger the lines, the better the skills. Weaker the lines, the more skills the person needs to accumulate in their life. As far as the sun line goes, these are the line of sun. They are comparatively and this portion is above the heart line. This is the above the heart line. So this portion is after the age of 53. So you notice that there are kind of many multiple kind of lines. They are comparatively weaker lines. So the person may have multiple interests and may do multiple kind of professions or things. It's always better to have got less lines compared to multiple lines. You just have one line, that is good enough. Even if you don't have even one single line, even that is considered to be a good sign. But having multiple lines and that too weak, it could mean doubt and self-doubt, and it could mean the person is not energizing their work as much as they should be doing. So presence of the line does bring in success. It's a sure sign. Some people I've seen, even with very dim and the very dim kind of lines also, they're highly successful. And some people who have got very strong line could also not be as successful compared to people who have got very dim lines. But the thing is that it's always better to have a stronger, deeper and clear line. Only then the best qualities come out. So having dim kind of lines bring in lack of clarity. It means something like, if there are dim lines on the amount of sun, it means in front, this is your path and this is the road that you're traveling on, and on the path there are lots of clouds and smoke. So if there's too much of smoke, your car may not be able to run at a great speed because you have to slow down your car. And when you slow down your car, the path that you can cover, you are not able to cover, and you are basically unclear on what path you are running on. So that's the reason why stronger lines are better compared to weaker kind of lines, weak and dim kind of lines. But it's not that every person has got everything perfect. The things that I mentioned that are good on her hand is perpendicular lines on the line of Mercury, the heart line ending on the Mount of Saturn, one of the best possible signs for money. The Mount of Venus is prominent, that's also good. Now the person is very cautious, shy, hardworking, and contemplating. So the success comes in the later portion. So whenever I find these two lines joined together, something like this, I would say something like the person is a tortoise, and tortoise wins the race ultimately. But they win the race ultimately only and only if they commit themselves to one particular path. If they keep on changing the path, probably they may not be able to win the race if they keep on changing. So it's always better to commit yourself completely to one thing, and that's when you are likely to be hugely successful. And one more thing the good part I mentioned was that the Jupiter finger, whenever long a finger does bring in luck in one's life, and it's a beautiful sign to have. In the no image out here, I can basically say that which image, and these branches on the heart line, I've already told you, a lack of focus, and sometimes uh, this makes in lots of distractions. So the person may be good at something that they are doing, but they keep on changing, and they're not able to commit themselves completely. So that's a negative sign. These upward lines on the headline, the books of palmistry say that this may have to do in pointing towards the area for Mercury, one of the best possible signs. And these two are happening in the earlier portion of life, before the age of 35. So it might have to do with something related to writing skills, an author. But not every person becomes an author. It may have to do because Mercury is for not only being an author. It could be like engineering, medical. It can be anything. It can be nuclear science. It can be any kind of science, or it could also be mathematics or economics, a doctor, engineer, any kind of thing. So upward lines are beautiful kind of lines. It means upgradation of your knowledge as well. In the left hand, you would notice that the sunline becomes much more deeper and clearer above the heart line. So it is very straight and simple. So this is considered to be reasonably better compared to the right hand. So when a person does have such a kind of a line, More social standing comes after the age of 53, 54, and better prospects can be seen after the age of 50. So this is according just purely by the line of sun. Now the thing is, people generally think that money line is the only where place to look for money. I have explained in this particular video how that we can come to know about money from any possible line. We can come to know about money from